And I don't know if you've ever wondered, maybe not, and that's okay. Because my channel is called Love is Happiness. Because it sounds like that. And love is happiness. No, not really. I actually named it that because I believe that love, when it goes well, when it works, when it is as it should be, is happiness. Someone might come here and tell me, but love can be painful. Not love, heartbreak. Heartbreak can be extremely painful. But I'm not referring anymore to the fact that there is love or the absence of it and therefore pain. I mean that love should be happiness when it exists. Let me explain. Many times we meet someone and feel a lot of attraction, a lot of excitement, meaning if friends ask us, hey, how's it going with that person you met maybe a month ago? And you say, wow, the first thing that comes out, and keep this in mind because later on, the excitement is, I love it, I really like this person. They make me feel so much. I like them a lot. I see this in them. They like that. They enjoy this. In other words, a description of qualities that make this person seem even more incredible to you, of what it could be, right? It's that they are someone out of the ordinary, okay? But if I ask you how you are, that is, are you happier since you met this person? In many cases, right? It would be like that. In many cases, this person doesn't bring you more happiness. You're excited about them, huh? You love them, but you're nervous, tense, without appetite, with sleep problems, with fear, right? I'm terrified that this won't turn out as it should. Okay. When you're like that, when love isn't happiness and you are the thermometer, nothing else is needed. It doesn't matter. No, but it's just that this person, Amanda, I also think she feels you are the thermometer. I don't need to know more. How you are is super relevant to me for analyzing any situation. When you're not well, it doesn't matter. What you analyze for me, what you tell me, the story isn't going well. Because when love is going well, love is happiness. It's not just that you feel excitement to see the person, but it's an emotion of joy, of excitement, of contentment. And you feel good, you're happier, you're more cheerful. That is to say, when love goes as it should, it brings you greater happiness. In fact, it brings you an intense happiness. When it doesn't go as it should, it brings you restlessness, nervousness, discomfort, earthly concerns, sometimes sadness, right? Sometimes you feel sad, don't you? Because of that fear of not knowing what will happen. And when love is bringing happiness because it's going well, you know what? You don't forget about yourself because this is very much about you. Because that other person makes it very much about you. Because with their love, with their enthusiasm, with their dedication, they make you their center. Then you feel important. On the other hand, when it doesn't go as it should, one of the things that happens is that you abandon yourself. You give in, you forget about who the story should completely revolve around. And that's why, as I was saying before, when someone asks you, hey, how's it going with that guy or girl you met on a dating app, at a club, or your coworker? How's it going? The answer you give revolves solely around them. Think about it. Reflect on what I'm telling you. You will tell them how thrilled you were when that person did such a thing, how delighted you are to have found out that person has such a taste, the excitement it brings you, that it drives you crazy, and so on. But everything goes around that person. The details you share are about that person, not about things this person has done for you, or things they've said about you, or ultimately about the plans. It's different. Everything revolves around that person because it stopped being about you. You have abandoned yourself, you have surrendered, and what has happened is that very quickly, not only is love not happiness, but on top of that, you have already abandoned the role you should have in your life and have made the grave mistake, because it is a catastrophic error, of taking another person and believing that they are the protagonist of your life and that from now on, the story is about him or her. So what happens when, for example, we both fall in love? Let's say that temporarily we change protagonists. That's why we don't feel abandoned, Because it's like, for me, you are my center right now, and for you, I am the center. So that shared vision where each thinks the other is more important, and vice versa maintains the balance, we remain visible. Let's say we co-star, let's call it that. But when it's not like that, when I quickly fall in love unilaterally, we could say, in a somewhat idealized way, in a way, I fall in love with myself, more than being courted, more than being conquered, more than them doing something to earn my love. When I fall in love with myself, then, as I say, the problem is not how much this person matters to me, the importance I've given them. The problem is that I've diminished my own importance. And the way I want to solve it is not like, okay, and it makes sense, right? It's like, I could solve it if I manage to become important to this person, and thus we co-star, right? And then I'm not there alone anymore. So this is why when you feel in this situation, you try to put efforts, obviously, into saying, I'm going to focus on the other person. You already have me won over, but I realize that it's not mutual, and that's what makes me feel bad. Love is not happiness. It doesn't flow. Love is right now a turbulent path where I feel like at any moment I'm going to fall off the raft and drown. And then, of course, no one enjoys the journey, right? And of course, what do? I'm going to make efforts to try to make you feel like I do, so you can offer me the security I need, the stability I need to feel calm and good about what I'm feeling, right? But the problem is that you put the effort, the importance you want to give instead of correcting. First, that you have abandoned yourself. And second, that the protagonist of the movie is not won over by a supporting character. That's how it is. The moment you abandon yourself, when you give up your stance and make that other person the epicenter, you become an extra in your own life. It seems unbelievable, but it is, right? That's why your life starts to lose quality of life, doesn't it? It becomes more boring. Of course. Because before the movie revolved around you, around what was happening to you, what you wanted, what was occurring. Now it revolves around when this person wants to enter the scene. And when they don't enter the scene, well, the scenes are quite boring, right? They're all like, I want to know, I'm uneasy, I feel sad. When am I going to see them? I'm in the waiting, you know? The movie has lost quite a bit of quality. And so, of course, now you are that secondary character. And do you think the protagonist is going to hook up with the secondary character? No, they don't hook up. They don't hook up. They stay there because the plot isn't about that. So you have to understand, okay. The plan I had to try to become important to this person from the position I currently represent is not going to happen. But it's okay because I have the option. Just as I have neglected myself, just as I have stopped focusing on myself, just as I have diminished my own importance, I can give it back to myself. I have the option. It is totally and fully in my hands, which is something we often overlook. That is to say, I can't force you to become my co-star. What a word. It sounds like a tongue twister. But I can take charge again to ensure that in my life, I become the star again, that everything revolves around me again, that it centers around me once more. And it is precisely what you need, and it is an indispensable requirement to, from that position again, be able to often resolve situations in love that are not happening as we want. Think about it. What happens when you say, oh, this person came back when I had already gotten over it, when I didn't care anymore, when I didn't care anymore? Of course, when it no longer mattered to you. You were no longer just a bystander in your life. You became the protagonist again. Man, what are you going to do? If that person no longer matters to you, your life isn't going to revolve around someone who doesn't matter, right? Or when I gave up on this person, when I surrendered and went back to, of course, when you took charge of your life again. When you returned to playing your main role and now this person comes back. Of course, because love is about two people who want each other. They want the protagonist, right? So you have to understand that when you have already idealized the other, when you have already fallen in love with yourself, when this has become unbalanced, where is the thermometer? How do you feel? No, I'm nervous. I feel bad. Maybe it's just my imagination. It could be that this person feels what I need to do is calm down. Yes, you should calm down, but no. It's not your imagination. What you're feeling, your body isn't lying to you. Your intuition isn't lying to you. What you're feeling in your body is what your mind doesn't want to see. And indeed, this isn't going well because this isn't balanced. Because as of today, this person doesn't feel the same. They don't prioritize you as you are prioritizing them. And if you don't show how much you prioritize them, it's to keep up appearances. But you would love to make it clear to this person, hey, look, I would write to you from morning till night and see you every day, and we would already be a couple. What's happening? That I imply all this because I realize that the other side of the shore isn't experiencing the same. Sure, I do receive. Things happen, as I say, from time to time. Your protagonist, who is no longer you, enters the scene. So, okay, everything is going well, this and that. But if you notice that it's not going well, if you're not okay, if the love isn't happy, no, it's not going well. And if you realize that indeed you have neglected yourself and are the only way you have, I guarantee you, is not by looking for ways to do things with that person. Believe me, it doesn't matter if you give them great intimacy. It doesn't matter if you have thoughtful gestures. It doesn't matter if you show them that you can support that person. It's not about that. First, you have to show them that you are truly taking control of your life again. It's not about how I can get closer, what I can come up with. The greatest gesture will not win you this person's heart if you haven't first refocused on your life as it should be, putting order in your existence. And I invite you to try a practical exercise that I use in consultations because I also want you to take the theory into practice. Because it's useless to me if you're just listening and you say, Amanda, I think about it and what you say makes sense. And it happens to me. And indeed, I have tried to silence my intuition and not see. I have tried to cover my eyes, but I realize that it is so. And I don't feel relaxed and calm. I sense that I'm not a priority. And it's true that I've been sidelined. So for example, in consultations, I say, let's look at this. Let's stick with the movie format as well, because it's a very visual way to put theory into practical terms, right? So maybe I ask, what did you do last week? Tell me. But really? I mean, what did you do on Monday? Tuesday, when you left the house, what plans did you have, right? If I have to sit through your week on video, do I stay over? Is that porous? Do I send your life or say, phew, thank goodness I'm not you? That clear, okay? Well, now for this week, we're going to do an exercise. And I'm suggesting it to you as well. Moreover, if you're watching the video today, which would be a reward because you're a good subscriber who hits the bell, it's Monday. So there's no excuse not to start. If you watch it another day, it doesn't matter. You can start any day at any time. But take a week starting any day and say, okay, this week, I'm going to imagine that I have to represent, well, it's going to be a week where I'll be recorded, like an exam of how my life is, of how interesting I can make my life. And here, of course, I have to pay attention to details. What plans do I make? Ideally, the movie should have something interesting. With whom do I come into contact? How do I dress up, right? For the movie, I don't want to appear disheveled. I want to show my best version, right? I'm going to put in a little effort. I'm going to fix my hair. I'm going to carefully select my clothes. As I said, I'm going to make plans because otherwise the viewers will fall asleep. And there's no need for that person who wants to appear to show up, to make themselves present. Well, but it doesn't matter because here we already know that this week the protagonist is you. I mean, we can't place the responsibility on the other person. And what we can't offer people are endless shots of you being depressed, you just overthinking. When you're there, maybe on your own, just thinking, when will this person write to me? Why don't they write to me? I'm going to check their social media. Really? Imagine a bunch of people watching that and seeing you like that, right? And thinking, oh, I don't want them to see this. Indeed, no one wants to see this, right? No one wants to. Seriously, put that pressure on yourself. Offer a good movie. Give your best. 1 week. And I tell you that in just 1 week, by doing this seriously, taking it seriously, the relationship that you have today with that person who makes you so uneasy, so restless, who keeps you on edge, will change. Here, the energies will start to shift If you do this well, if you commit properly, that week will not be wasted. And likewise, be careful. It's what gives you a start, right? Start with 1 week. But sometimes it's the start you need to remember where you need to focus your attention. And when you realize, wow, how curious, hey, things are going better for me. This person seeks me out more and contacts me more. When I stop spending 24 hours overthinking about her, when I stop thinking about what I can do to win her over and refocus on myself, right? I start to realize which path interests me, right? Which is the path that can lead me to build balanced relationships in which I can feel good. Listen to me. There are things that are non-negotiable. It's just that many times we don't know where we place our attention, right? We worry about whether this person is compatible or not with an ideal we have, with expectations we have. Focus more on analyzing how much the other person wants and how they make you feel. The most important thing is how I feel when I'm with this person. Do I feel calm? Do I feel good? How do I feel when I'm without that person? Do I feel calm? How do I feel when I get home? What is it like to interact with this person? Do I interact with this person and they put a smile on my face? Or do I interact with this person and have to go to the bathroom because of the nerves they give me? Think about that and understand what it's really about. Love. Because love is not about finding someone and turning them into your god or goddess and kissing their feet. Love is about finding someone who brings happiness to your life and with whom you can start a beautiful project. Well, I hope this video is helpful to you, that you liked it. If so, and you're not subscribed yet, do it. Do it if you want and click the bell so we can see each other again soon. And until then, as always, I send you a big kiss.